Hi, everybody. It's Jerry again. I want to talk to you today about a weird thing I did the other day. Was I wrote a song with ChapGPT, and it was uh, surprisingly easy and surprisingly difficult. There were plus and minuses all across the board, but it was just a strange experience. I hadn't intended to do this, but I was at my volunteer job at Lutheran General Hospital in Chicago. I worked there twice a week and a volunteer in the emergency room. And so I'm in the waiting room doing, I don't know, whatever. And this lady walks up to me and she says, would you go around the corner for me to the soda pop machine and get me a soda pop? And I said, well, sorry, I don't do that. If you want a glass of water or a nice warm blanket, I'll get you that. But you're on your own with a soda pop. So she turned around in a huff and walked away. So I turned next to me to the charge nurse who was standing next to me while this happened, and she looked at me and she said, just too far to walk. I looked back at her and I said, sounds like a country song to me. So that's as far as that went. Then the next morning, I'm sitting down cleaning up my emails and things, and I thought about that experience, and I said, I wonder. So I logged on to ChatGPT and I gave it a prompt. I'll show you that prompt here. Normally, when I dabble in this stuff, I go for very, very detailed prompts. The setting, the mood, the color, all sorts of detail, clothing, type of person, blah blah. As detailed as you can get. But in this case, I just left it up to ChatGPT to figure out how to deal with this. So as you can see from the prompt, it's just a simple country song, and ChatGPT returned for me three verses, one chorus, one bridge, and a tagline for the end, which I thought was really spot on the money. Of course, ChatGPT knows I like to sing bluegrass and stuff, so not that far off the base. And so anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. And so it gave me a nice core to start with. And I could have sat in front of a blank sheet of paper for a long time before I had been able to start this. And so right there, it saved me countless hours, I would say, of just trying to figure out how to start. So it gave me that, and then when I looked at it, I said, well, there's all sorts of things going on here that need to be fixed and adjusted and all that. It seems that ChatGPT kind of forgets doesn't pay attention to some of the finer details or some logic things. As an example, the chorus says she locked the doors, and in the verse she left in her car. So if she left her car, she wouldn't need to change the locks. And besides, the guy was home and she's gone. So little logic problem there. So we fixed that. And we went from one thing to another, just little details. And before I knew it, I had 12 versions of the song before we finally hit it right. And when we were finished, ChatGPT just out of the blue says, I can give you chords for that. I said, well, let's do it. So we went through that, and until you actually sit down, get the guitar, figure out a tune for it, and then see where the chords are, you realize, well, depending on the tune you choose for it, there's a chord missing here or there, or something needs to be added. So that was another 3 versions of the song. Okay. So when I was through, I had 15, 16, I didn't count them all, but 15 or 16 different versions of the song. And you have to be really careful with the AI, with what I call the rabbit hole. You can jump down a rabbit hole really, really easy. It has to do with the sources that the AI checks. It's going through and it's checking manuals, and there are different versions of manuals, and when they do a different version, they frequently change menus. And when they change menus, ChatGPT is likely to give you, or any AI is likely to give you incorrect information, or tell you to look someplace. You look, you don't find it, you got to go back, and then you run around in these circles, and it's a lot of time before you finally get it right. And this is the rabbit hole. And lots of times I just think, well, if I'd have just sat down and done this whole thing myself, I'd have had less time involved than I do chasing down the rabbit hole. So anyway, that's the downside of it. The upside, of course, is, as I said, the way it starts you out. So and there were also some word phrasings and things needed to be changed, and like I alluded to at the beginning, some logic issues. And but the chord part helped a lot too. But I had to sit down in front of the computer with the guitar and go through it, to get the chords right. So it took basically 2 hours to do it, maybe 2.5 hours to do it. And I actually performed it at an open mic later that night. And I guess I sort of had that in my head. I didn't think I did, but I guess I sort of had it in my head when I started to do this thing. And of course, needless to say, it was extremely rough, And you can see that in my YouTube page under the live performances tab. It's the 14 July 2026 at Grandpa's Pub in Glenview, Illinois. And it's the second song. There's two songs on the open mic recording. It's the second song, Just Too Far to Walk. So it came out all right, but like I said, it was a little rough. I promise you a polished version probably under the same folder, or I'll open up a different folder, maybe originals, although I'm pretty sure this is going to be the only original I'm going to have. But anyway, if you're interested, watch for the polished version, And so all in all, there were just a lot of things to be corrected, but in the end, it saved a lot of time. I mean, 2 hours, I wrote a song. I've never written a song before in my life, and having that core of the song helped a lot. I could have spent a lot of time with that blank sheet of paper, gotten the old writer's cramp and all that, So anyway, that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I wanted to give some warnings out about possible pitfalls with the AI, but it was a lot of fun, and I think it did a pretty good job with it, And thanks ChapGPT, So anyway, I've already got one of these recordings on playing with arthritis, if you're interested in that. And I'll be doing one more. I'm not sure exactly on what. So, about my technique for learning guitar. I'm by no means a polished player, and I need to do a lot more. When I learned initially, I was a 3-chord, open chord up the neck guy, and I need to start exploring more down the neck. And I was getting frustrated with books and things that I was seeing. It had a lot of things I didn't need. So I had ChatGPT work up a curriculum for me based on my arthritis problems, 3 chords, movable, and all that stuff. And it worked out really good. So I'll make another recording about that with some more detail if that's up your alley, if you're interested. So anyway, that's it. Talk to you soon. Don't forget, like and subscribe. See you later. Bye-bye.